the match, please? What we saw?
Same message as most weeks, I think, in terms of first half. So exactly what we want it to look like: dominant, real purpose, real togetherness, real. I thought we caused them real problems, kept them penned back in, created some great opportunities, don't score. And that said it. Derby, Bristol City here, Swansea, Middlesbrough. So many games where the performance is okay, but you have to have that. You have to score when you're that dominant. And naturally then, and we've spoken about it in terms of half time. Then when you're that dominant, they're going to change. Said the same thing at Derby. And I remember talking to the media afterwards about it, that focus at half time then is the second half will look different. They have to change because of how dominant we are. So we spoke about it today. We know they'll come out, they'll go man for man. We know they'll be more aggressive. We know the space will be behind them, so we have to get it there. And we then give away one of the softest goals yet again that I've seen at this level. And then go within ourselves. Too many people go under. We end up our goalkeeper and our centre halves having more touches than anybody, which was not what we spoke about half time. Is we have to play depth. We have to look to exploit space in behind them, and we go within ourselves, and that it's the same message I keep saying.
Jeffrey Schlupp came out and spoke to the press, and he said Norwich, I'm paraphrasing, are not responding well to disappointment. Seem to find it difficult once they go a goal behind. Is that your impression of what you saw once they trailed? Because it was a totally different performance at 0-0 to what it was when it went 0-1.
Definitely. That. I said to the lads before, when you're on the ropes, when you're up against it, you have to swing, you have to fight, and that was the same. You have to do that irrespective of the scoreline, and that way you can look at yourself now and you've left it all out there, and we don't ultimately. And I think that. That's the difficult bit. That's the disappointing bit, because we're talking about a behavioural thing. In terms of when you look at it, we've shot ourselves in the foot with both of the goals. We've then done more than enough to, in terms of opportunities created. But if you don't take them, I've said it before, you never release the pressure, and that we don't cope well under the pressure at the minute.
Obviously, they're the players on the pitch. You're the coaching staff on the sideline. Why can't you, as a coaching group, get a response out of them in our? Why have you been unable to stem the tide and change things and get the response that you obviously want and the players want and the fans want?
Trust me, it's not through a lack of effort. I think when you look at whether it be changes in systems, personnel, that's a difficult thing. I don't look at today and go, right, we got the game plan wrong, they were miles better than us, that's what's cost us. It's people coping with pressure, and that's the hardest bit to affect and change. We give them absolutely everything. The staff, they have a huge support. Everybody probably does too much for them. But second the game starts, you need people to step up. And it's not the first time I've said it. It was Bristol City not long ago, talking around players stepping up and taking responsibility. And that we've got some that can, up to a point. And then when the pressure hits, that find it difficult.
Last question from me. The ownership group gave you a welcome support boost in midweek when you spoke with them. 7 straight home defeats, 6 straight defeats in total. Is there something that says to you, obviously it is unprecedented failure, 7 straight home defeats at this club. Perhaps it's not working. You and the ownership, the group, the staff, you in particular, should walk away at this junction and say the club needs someone that can do more than we're currently doing.
I'm sure there'll be discussions off the back of it. Look, I've always said I'll fight, I'll scrap, but I think we have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to look inwardly in terms of the impact. It's not acceptable to lose the volume of games we've had, yeah. And again, I think you have to look at those things.
So, in which case, will you go away and consider your position over the weekend? Is what I'm asking, really.
I'll keep fighting. I'll keep fighting, but we'll have discussions, because something has to change ultimately, I think, in terms of it. So I think it's one of those, what won't change is the group in the changing room. And I think that in terms of, what you need is a group of lads that, irrespective, are willing to fight, willing to give everything under, high pressure ultimately.
On a human level, that must be very difficult for you to go through now. You see the scenes out at the final whistle. They're coming for you now as well as Ben Napper. How do you A, deal with that, but then B, move forward, because it feels like you've probably lost the battle with a lot of these fans now?
Yeah, no, I get it. Results haven't been good enough, and that. I forget performances. I can sit here and spin around, how great we were first half, but we've lost the game. and that I think you can talk around performing well and losing games a few times throughout the season. What you can't do is the volume and the consecutive games like we have. So yeah, of course I'm hurting. It's not nice. I don't like it. It's frustrating. But I can go on and look at myself and know I've given everything, and I'm going to continue to give everything. That's ultimately the only thing I can do.
I have to ask you, because it clearly was picked up by some of the fans who remained in the ground. You opted to come down the tunnel there at the final whistle after you'd gone on and maybe shook the old coach's hand. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, no, poor of me. I need to apologise to the fans for that. Poor of me from that perspective. I think part of it not wanting to antagonise people, part of it emotion, frustration, anger, disappointment. Just sometimes gets the better of you, right? So again, not the right thing to do. So again, I thought the fans stuck with us during the game. And I apologise for that.
It isn't all on you, clearly. There's a lot, it feels, externally wrong with this football club. There's hundreds there after the game protesting. It's not all on you, clearly. But how do you and Ben and Zoe and all the people who are driving the direction of travel this side of the Atlantic, how do you move forward from here? Because it really feels like it's broken.
Yeah, something has to change. I think that what we have to do is look at today, look at the run, and ultimately have some tough conversations around what that is.
I mean, I clearly wouldn't expect you to take us into the conversations you had with Mark when he was over here, but was it put on the line? Yourself, Ben, and all the other people who were, again, driving it from this side, it needs to turn quickly. Yeah,
of course. You only look at the points return to know that. I think Mark made it quite clear in terms of everybody's accountable, and at the minute, nobody can look at themselves and say they're delivering, so ultimately everybody's responsible for where we're at.
I mean, as you say, one thing that won't change in the here and now is that group of players. So how do you change that almost the mentality issue? You look at your zone in at, I think that's the 7th goal you've conceded between half-time and the hour mark. Is that not just a mentality issue?
Yeah. For me it is, yeah. I think it comes back to the piece I just said around the responsibility, the bravery, we go from performing to... I said it to you before, I think, Paddy, in terms of the bandwidth of the group. We go from producing such excellent moments first half to such terrible moments second half, and that, if you want to continuously, win games and you want to be successful at this level, you can't have such a big bandwidth. And that for me is, like I said, how we are. First half, good control, good blah blah blah. Second half, we then don't cope with the opposition changing. We go under. We don't respond well enough, unfortunately.
So, I mean, if it is you still driving this forward in the games ahead, how does that change? Is that just, again, you've made changes in personnel today, you've brought in a bit more experience maybe with Duffy and one or two others. Is it just personnel changes?
Searching, I think that's the biggest bit. Searching for the ones that are going to step up, and you have to score first half. You have to score first half, and then when you don't, you have to come out second half and respond to how they change, and you have to play your way through those early stages by playing depth, by being maybe slightly more pragmatic, by doing those things, and for all the stuff, it's our goal kick, and it's just mad. The goal, it's just mad. I scratch my head in terms of what you can do to affect that. It's honestly, don't want to be disrespectful to Schoolboy because it's such a bad goal.
Yeah, and also as well, and I'm not trying to single him out, but is it symptomatic that you've got a player who came in and looked like he'd hit the ground running, and he, by common consent, probably the best bit of business you did, Harry Darling, he just looks a shell of the same player now in the last 2 or 3 games?
Yeah, Harry will be his own biggest critic. Harry will be quite clear, I think, second half wasn't nowhere near his level of what he's capable of, but he's shown numerous times he can bounce back and what he's capable of at this level, and he's a terrific character, so that he has to do that now for himself.
Just final one away from the game. No Liam Gibbs today. Liam, what can you tell us on that one?
Just where we're at the minute, a little precautionary. Felt a small tweak in his hamstring yesterday morning in a session where we did hardly anything.
So just to clarify, is that a scan and then we'll take it from there? Yeah. Thanks, Liam. Cheers.
Can I just ask one last question? Do you feel that you look at the quality of this group, you know this division extremely well, is there enough here for Norwich to stay up? Because at the moment, they're 4 points away from safety, with a couple of difficult games ahead. Do you think there's enough in that dressing room to survive and with ease?
With ease is a different question, right? I think in terms of enough to survive, yes. I think January becomes quite important in terms of what you add. I think we need to get bodies back. I think that's a challenge in terms of, possibly 4 or 5 starting players out injured, which is again a wider issue. So when you got some of those coming back in the next 3-4 weeks will be a big lift. Having Force and Matthias back will be a big lift. So you have to work hard to get those back. But yeah, I do believe it.
The toughest spell of your management career
Yeah.
so far?
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks
thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.